Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. We are reading from the book Meditation and Spiritual Life by Swami Yatiswarananda. We are on chapter 17, which is self-surrender, and we are starting the section Egotism, the main cause of suffering. People very often neglect or forget God's grace. They become overconfident in their own strength and become careless. This may even lead to arrogance. There is a funny story in our old books. Once there was a tiny mouse in the hermitage of a sage. One day a cat fell upon it. The sage took pity on it and transformed it into a cat. Then some dogs tried to tear this new cat to pieces, and so the sage changed it into a dog. The poor dog was persecuted by a leopard, and so the sage transformed it into a tiger. But when it became a tiger, it wanted to kill the sage himself. Then the sage said, "All right, just be the old mouse again." A similar thing happens in the case of spiritual aspirants too. Divine grace is showered on them, which purifies them to a certain extent, and they are able to attain a certain amount of concentration and freedom. But then they become egotistic, begin to think too highly of their own attainments, and become careless or go to the extent of abusing and reforming the world. Then suddenly the grace is withdrawn and they find themselves alone, facing a terrible void. We should all bear in mind that those who really and truly follow the spiritual path are less egocentric and more selfless, kind and considerate towards others. We have to be givers and not beggars. When it comes to material things, most of the people are beggars. They want so many things from others, and yet they are egotistic. The less the ego, the greater the joy and peace, and the better our work. Do not think lightly of your spiritual blessings. You need not constantly brood over your weaknesses and past mistakes, but should cultivate alertness of mind. Constant discrimination is essential even in the path of devotion. Constant alertness of mind is essential to profit by the blessings that God is showering on us. As Sri Ramakrishna has said, if you walk one step towards God, He comes to you 10 steps. Next section. Convert suffering into spiritual strength. True devotees of God do not pray for wealth or material benefits. They do not even pray for the removal of suffering. What they pray for is strength to bear their sufferings. There is a fine song by Rabindranath Tagore. Lord, give me the strength to bear thy standard to whom thou hast been pleased to give it. Give me the devotion to bear the greatest pain that is unavoidable in thy service. Thou mayst fill my heart with great pain. I do not want even to get rid of this gift of suffering that thou art giving me with thine own hands. This misery will be my crest jewel, if with it thou givest me also devotion to thee. Give me work as much as thou likest. If thou dost not allow me to forget thee, nor my heart to get itself lost in the entanglements of the world. If thou wishest, do thou bind me as much thou likest, but keep my heart open to thee. Do thou not allow me to forget thee on any account. So there's a footnote here. The song beginning with Tomor Potoko Joro Dao by Rabindranath Tagore in Naivedya number 20. And then there is the beautiful prayer of Kunti to Sri Krishna. O teacher of the whole world, let calamities come to us from all directions, for they enable us to have your vision, which puts an end to the cycle of rebirths. So this is in the Bhagavatam 1.8.25. Vipudaha santuna vipudaha santunas nash shashvat tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam vipadassantu nashashvat tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanai yat syad apunarbhava darshanam. Since we are going to have unpleasant experiences anyway, it is better to have them utilized for higher spiritual life. Nobody can avoid pain, suffering, humiliation in some form or other in his life. As it is, let these goad us to a higher purpose. Let us use them as stepping stones to the divine life. This does not mean that we should go out of the way and seek troubles for ourselves, as some people try to do. We should court neither suffering nor pleasure, but seek the divine alone, which is beyond both. Divine grace may not necessarily remove all our physical miseries and sorrows, but if we have the grace, we can pass through the fiery ordeal of life successfully, burning the dross in us in the process. This increases our inner purity and spirit of surrender. Blessed are our sufferings if they bring us clearer knowledge and steadier devotion. The more I see life, the more I understand that divine grace does not necessarily mean removal of our troubles, but it also gives the devotee a wonderful inner poise and strength to face all trials and difficulties, makes him purer, and enables him to feel the divine presence, which brings an inner peace even in the midst of the greatest sufferings. Real peace is not like sleep. It is a calm state of mind that enables you to remain unmoved in the midst of the troubles and difficulties and be in touch with a vaster reality. People who run away from the difficulties of life weaken themselves more and more. People who constantly seek pleasure and avoid their duties remain stunted. They never attain their full spiritual stature and are unable to utilize the grace that the Lord is ever ready to shower on them. Let us make the best use of the grace that is already showered on us. Let us make the best use of the time and advantages that we have got instead of complaining about lack of time and disadvantages. And in a spirit of surrender, let us strive for God realization. We should strive for more divine grace and more love for the divine than for the paltry things of the world, which only tend to make us forget God and our spiritual destiny. We should always be in a mood to rush towards God. Next section, karma and divine grace. Certain forms of karma are to be worked out through suffering. So when the latter comes, we should feel somewhat relieved, for suffering indicates that so much of the burden of karma is reduced. Besides, the helplessness brought about by suffering may be utilized spiritually by practicing self-surrender to the divine all the more. In pain and pleasure, in life and death, the Lord is our own. He is the soul of our souls, the life of our lives. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that diseases are the taxes we have to pay for living in the body. This is from the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna, published in 1975, page 133. We have to pay these taxes sometimes in heavy installments, and then for some time there may be a respite. The Master was often heard to say during his last illness, "Let the body feel the pain, but O my mind, do thou remain in bliss." This is from the Life of Sri Ramakrishna, published in 1974, page 489. Move inwards without trying to run too fast. If we try to run fast, we may have to pay for it with compound interest. God realization is certainly the goal, but this too has to be reached not merely through spiritual culture, but also through proper and necessary action. What we should by all means avoid is improper and unnecessary action. Hence, we should be careful both about the inner ideal and the outward action. Proceed slowly and steadily, exhausting your karma. Be in tune with the divine within, and also be careful about what you do. We must correct ourselves always both on the thought plane and on the plane of action. Most people suffer because of the discrepancy between their spiritual aspiration and the grim reality they have to face in worldly life. This suffering by itself is not an evil. It may even be for one's own good, if it acts as an incentive to find an inner spiritual adjustment. One may then gradually feel that one is not really of the world, even if one has to live in the world. In a certain sense, we all get what we deserve. We wish for a thing, we get it, and along with it also the good and the evil, which are inseparably connected with it. We seek some forms of happiness, and then, as Swami Vivekananda says, happiness presents itself before man, wearing the crown of sorrow on its head. This is from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, published in 1973, volume 5, page 419. We cannot accept the one without the other. We wish for the satisfaction of some worldly desire, we may get the object of desire, but we also get the trouble associated with it. Our present state is the result of our past as well as our present worldly desires. Let us learn to be as desireless as possible, to adjust ourselves to the circumstances that we ourselves have brought about and then rise above them. Let us work out our destiny and learn to depend on the divine more and more as we work out our karma. Then the world will become our training ground, and through it we will be able to reach the divine. Then, even if we continue to remain in the world, outwardly we will be no more of it, we will be the Lord's wherever we be. Next section, play of the Divine Mother. Everything is the play of the Divine Mother. She comes to us in different forms, as the teacher and the student, as the friend and the enemy. Let us then play our part as best we can, at the same time witnessing our play with detachment. Whatever we see around us, whatever happens to us, is the manifestation of her sport, her leela, her joy. Sometimes the devotee says, "Mad woman, what are you doing?" when he sees us indulging in one of her pranks, playing with human hearts, producing pain and pleasure. Sometimes we do not find any rhyme or reason in the whole cosmic process. But this whole cosmic process, in its madness, its cruelty, its pain and pleasure, is but the manifestation of the mad, frolicking spirit of the mother, of the joy she has in her play. We too should enjoy her play and take it as play, performing parts as actors, but knowing that we really have nothing to do with it, that it is all for the sake of the great fun of the game. Many of the songs which Sri Ramakrishna used to sing, and the songs were mostly composed by Ram Prasad and a few other poet saints of Bengal, are symbolic representations of the cosmic process. The crude mind of the worldly person takes them in a crude way and thus misses their whole inner meaning. Their symbolism is really marvelous and expresses the truth in a very striking way, as far as the truth can ever be expressed in words. Sri Ramakrishna especially liked the song about the Divine Mother flying kites. We are all kites that the Mother is flying in the sky, and we are tied by separate strings so that we cannot get away. But some very clever kites manage to cut the string and fly away, never to return. And then the Mother, beside herself with joy, claps her hands, though she herself has kept the kites tied to the string. So this is from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, published in 1974, page 65. So what we have got to do is to cut the string that ties us to the phenomenal world for mother's play, and then we are free, and mother rejoices at our freedom. Otherwise, the play will go on indefinitely with all its joys and miseries, fulfillments and frustrations, never to end, all one immense round of mad frolicking seen from the mother's side, and of immense suffering and bondage seen from ours. Brushing completely aside your petty individual will, you must joyfully dance her mad dance. The fun is that when various impulses rise in our mind, we think they arise from ourselves. They are our impulses. They belong to our will. We do not even realize the real nature of our own slavery. When we have got to take part in the great cosmic dance, we should know it is but play and nothing but play, while we are in the depths of our being only witnesses and have no identity with it. Even our so-called individuality is a manifestation of the cosmic, but we make ourselves miserable by cutting ourselves away from the cosmic principle, the mother who starts and leads the dance. You see, when you boil potatoes, they too perform a most ludicrous dance inside the pan. And we are just like those potatoes. If they had thoughts, they too would probably imagine that they were dancing out of their own free will, not that they are made to dance. If you try to realize this truthfully, it helps you greatly in advancing along the right line. Next time we'll start with the section, Be an Instrument in the Hands of the Divine. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.